Hi, my name is Dr. Cynthia Marie Whitney. I'm a minister, but not your conventional minister. The name of this podcast is Be Aware. Be aware of your thoughts. Each week, we will review self-realization through storytelling. I believe I had a beautiful childhood. Mom and Dad played Motown music all the time, so I got to dance and sing in front of their guests. And we visited many neighbors and cousins and even got to spend nights at their houses. Yet I developed separation anxiety stemming from my mother leaving me home as she traveled for nights to visit her mother in South Carolina, 768 miles away from Brooklyn. I had multiple dreams of running in slow motion, chasing her down the block as she went down into a subway station, but I never could catch her. She would take my 3 younger siblings only. She couldn't afford to take all of us. I didn't understand what not having enough money entailed. All I knew was that I felt rejected and not good or worthy enough of her love. This happened often enough for me to develop a consciousness of hopelessness. These thoughts and feelings had become so deeply implanted that it was present as I entered the school system. By the time I got to the 3rd grade, the teacher announced that we would be performing the play, The Wizard of Oz, which starred Julie Garland. At first, I was excited. If I got the part, I would get to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. As young as I was, the deeper part of me said, who you fooling? You know you're not going to be included and get such a great role. You're not good enough. You don't even look like Dorothy. But my good friend Emily did. Emily was Puerto Rican and her hair was flowing and long. I felt defeated before I even auditioned. Of course, Emily got the part, and I believe the high road was to pretend I was happy for her and that I should feel lucky just to have gotten a part in the play. It was the role of a munchkin where I had to disguise my beautiful voice. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. I chose to be obedient as a child, and I stopped auditioning for roles. I never read out loud, and I accepted any boy that wanted to be my boyfriend. And I buried my true self-expression like an ostrich that buries its head in the ground. I became known as the shy girl or the wallflower of my group of friends. I secretly blamed everyone in my life for my state of mind and for bossing me around. Heck, I pointed the finger at everyone in society for the condition of my life. It's no wonder I ended up with outspoken partners in life who were vocal and super expressive. The one God-fearing man I had chosen and prayed for as my lifelong loving partner, together with the 8 children we had, was so demanding and exasperating, and his behavior was so startling to me that I felt the only way to relieve myself of this gigantic energy was to sink further into hiding. This time I buried myself by reading and studying self-realization books so I could understand my spouse's behavior. 27 years of marriage and his sudden death further paralyzed me. I was lost because I depended on him to make my decisions in life. While grieving in our favorite restaurant and before I buried him, I saw a vision of a bird trapped in a cage in the sky. The cage door opened and the bird flew away. I didn't know that I felt trapped until this vision. I felt a feeling of freedom like I never felt before. I also felt shame for having that feeling so soon after his death, but something was sparked in me. I grew stronger in my 23 years of self-study. I examined and re-examined my motives for accepting submissiveness, later identified as my rackets. Surprisingly, all the answers to why I felt trapped pointed to me as the cause. It pointed to me creating my life to be exactly the way it was. I said, no way. Why would I bow down and become entrapped in all of these situations? Time and time again, my learning pointed to me. I was holding back my own happiness and freedom because of the choices and decisions I had made. Until I truly became aware of this fact, I would stay trapped just as I desired. I was getting some kind of satisfaction out of all of these situations. A quote by Roy Bennett states plainly how not to be submissive. Accept personal responsibility for your life, frees you from outside influences. It increases your self-esteem, boosts confidence in your ability to make decisions, and ultimately leads to achieving success in life. I still argued for my belief. It's not my fault. I was an obedient and submissive person. I then saw that I was that way on the outside, but inside I was secretly resentful. It was hard to accept at first, but it finally sinked in. I had to accept full responsibility for the feelings of entrapment, unworthiness, rejection, and not feeling good enough before things could change in my life. If I create my own life and I am not happy with how my life is, that means I can create a life that can make me happy. I get to create my own life by making stronger and better choices. I released denial and stopped blaming everyone around me for my lack of freedom and unhappiness. I sent out apologies to them all, my deceased mom, pop, husband, and to anyone whom I blamed knowingly and unknowingly who was alive. This was when I started to rise up and climb out of my shell and take my head out of the ground. Beginning in 2012, I decided to take professional singing lessons, something I always wanted, resulting in me singing 3 times at the Cotton Club in Harlem, New York. My voice was heard on the iconic platform whose stage was graced by many unforgettable singing stars. After watching The Wiz, I was inspired to write and complete my first book, Looking for Self in All the Wrong Places, based on The Wiz and The Wizard of Oz. My life was just posed as Dorothy, along with the Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow, who were all silenced and felt trapped as they symbolically represented Dorothy's waking and dreaming feelings of insecurity. The starring role that I once desired as a child became mine on the world literary platform. My name is Dr. Cynthia Marie Whitley. I don't know where you are in your life's journey, but if you are in a situation where you are unhappy, feeling trapped, unworthy, or not good enough, and you desire change, take one step at a time and learn to humbly accept responsibility as a gift. And watch and see how you'll begin to take different actions and make better choices toward the life you desire, one step at a time. Believe Michael Jackson when he says that we have to look at the man, woman in the mirror and make that change. If you can't wait until next week, visit Looking for Self series on Amazon.com under Gershona Cynthia Whitley.